Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Trading Table. This is Andrew. Joining with me is Landon, and today we're going to be going over some of the biggest movers of the market, what to watch for tomorrow, and more. Looking at our heat map here for the S&P 500, as you can see, the tech sector absolutely had a banger day. Well, not the whole sector, but the ones that correlate pretty heavily to NVIDIA definitely fell under NVIDIA's bull run, right? And if we look at SPY's chart here, we can see super bullish all day. Very little major pullbacks. Even if you consider this one a major pullback, I really don't because we rebounded right away. This one was a little bit more major, but no worries. As we finished green on SPY today, up 1.63%. As you could see in aftermarket here as well, if you couldn't tell, we had a great meta earnings. Great meta earnings. We're going to be looking at that later in the video. But yeah, SPY had such a banger day. I mean, I've seen so many posts on Twitter, Reddit, etc. of people who entered calls, who recognized the trend early in the day, and just absolutely banger plays, right? I mean, you really couldn't go wrong entering calls anywhere except like end of day. And if you're trading at 3 o'clock anyway, then you're cooked. But yeah, just great day to be a bull. Great day for the market overall. Looking at NVIDIA, though, I mean, look at this uptrend. Even better than SPY, right? So, NVIDIA, I told you guys in yesterday's video, was most likely going to correct. We're just kind of pulling lower, grabbing some liquidity, and then just going to bang out. I also saw that there was a buyer sitting at $100 a share. So they put in a limit order at $100 a share for $77 million worth of NVIDIA stock, right? $77 million is actually insane. And as you can see right here, they got their fill. And after that, it was just boom, straight up. I actually wonder if we can see the volume on that. I don't think we can, but might as well go ahead and take a look. Yeah, no, not really. But nevertheless, though, yeah, that buyer came in, bought that dip. I mean, NVIDIA going that low was just kind of uncalled for, really, in this market. But it definitely rebounded. If we jump out to like the higher time frames here as well, we could see that we were super oversold, right? And anytime we're getting oversold on higher time frames, like for example, the 4 hours, a little bit better for this because you don't get oversold or overbought as often. But yeah, anytime we're like moving like that, the stock kind of tends to squeeze, with the exception that there's not any really bearish news. And pushing all the way down here, you're just attracting more buyers because NVIDIA is just one of those stocks that I think will continue to go up forever until it is replaced by a bigger superpower. So NVIDIA, absolutely great day today. We're also up 3% post-market, and that can be granted or thanks to Meta earnings. Meta had an absolute chop fest today, barely any fluctuations in price. So that can be contributed to a lack of buyers in the market, right? At its max movement it had today was around only 1.35%, which is definitely not a lot for Meta. Meta is a pretty volatile stock. Sometimes it moves 3% in the day. Yeah, Meta, just great earnings, right? And there has been a lot of hype around like the Meta glasses as well. So I kind of expected Meta to do good, but nevertheless, you never really know with earnings, right? It's one of those things you can't really predict. We're going to be looking at Microsoft's chart in a second to just kind of prove you really can't predict earnings. But yeah, they just surprised on a very good level. Their EPS was up 9.39%. And for a company of their caliber, that is a great EPS surprise. Their revenue was kind of lacking, but not really. I mean, the EPS made up for the revenue. EPS stands for earnings per share, and that's that number right there. But yeah, the revenue, it was lacking, but nevertheless, it was good. And they are up over 7% in the aftermarket. And I definitely think they can keep this up. These levels are not new for Meta at all, right? We've had a peak here of 545. I'm pretty sure that's their all-time high. Yes, it is. So, nothing really new here with Meta at those highs. So this is a great sign for the market. I definitely think the market can strengthen. There is still some uncertainty with tomorrow, as we do have Apple earnings tomorrow and Amazon earnings tomorrow. But Meta definitely helped the market out a bit today, and SPY was loving it. As you can see, nice movement here in the aftermarket for SPY as well with Meta. Looking at Microsoft, though, if I had to give a prediction right now, I think Microsoft in the next 3 weeks will be at an all-time high. Okay, I think the market is going to an all-time high. I definitely think it's possible. And, like I said, if you jump out to the 4-hour chart and you take a look at the RSI, right, you can kind of see that we're not super oversold. Nevertheless, though, this is super low for Microsoft in a market where everything is doing as well as it is doing. And I think Microsoft will kind of correct itself, right? It had a good earning, well, like not really a good earnings report. Definitely not as big of a surprise as Meta. So it definitely did fall a little bit because people were expecting a lot more out of Microsoft. But, even by tomorrow, it could just gap up in, pre-market and just move higher, right? Definitely very possible with how the market's looking right now. I mean, NVIDIA went up 12% today. Now, I know NVIDIA and Microsoft don't really correlate too heavily to each other, but one thing that NVIDIA does correlate to is SPY. Microsoft correlates to SPY, so it's kind of like a big chain where everything's kind of connected together. So I do think Microsoft has the opportunity to correct itself and move to a higher price. So, maybe getting some shares or some long-term call options here. I know that we do have a big money play for Microsoft. If I pull that up on my other monitor real quick for November 15th, 2024, we got some Microsoft 500 calls. And I think that's definitely very possible. We did also have rate cuts, and we'll be taking a look at that, the rate cut announcement. We'll be taking a look at that later. But, it's, I think, 99.9% now that it's going to be in September. So September should be a great month for the market. Just looking towards that, getting Microsoft at this price right now for some long-term call options could be a super nice move. Obviously, do your own homework, put your own research into it. But I am definitely not opposed to that. And I think that could be a very nice play in these next coming months. SMH has been kind of falling off the face of the earth recently due to NVIDIA deciding to absolutely dump, right? We saw all the way down to 226 with SMH when we were previously at 284. So, I remember in a video a while ago, I think it was our ETF video. After we made that, I actually picked up some more SMH back when it pulled back to like around the 240s. And, got a little bit scary there for a second, but SMH is one of those ETFs that moves pretty volatile. It's not like those safer ETFs like VOO or SPY, for example, where it's just kind of long-term growth. It's definitely a lot more volatile and definitely subject to price fluctuation. But if you're willing to risk, then you're going to reap the reward. And that's what we're seeing with SMH right now. We're already back up to 250 in the aftermarket. And I definitely think the market has the strength to go on a bull run tomorrow. I think we're going to continue this for sure, providing, tomorrow after close, Apple and Amazon earnings don't absolutely dump the market. That is a pretty big event for the market. You got two huge companies reporting. This week, we've only seen, Microsoft had its day, Meta had its day, right? But 2 in one day could really, really be bad news or good news for the market, depending on how they come out. China stocks, just been lacking recently. Definitely not my favorite anymore. I was super bullish on them, but after we've been down here for so long, failing to break out to the upside, it's just kind of, not my favorite look anymore for China stocks. And there's a saying that you should never marry your bias, and that's definitely the case here. But China stocks just failing to break higher even after China cut rates by 0.25%, which should have been really good for the market. Definitely not a great sign here. Stocks like JD, Baba, K-Web, they've just been really, really lacking. K-Web's all the way down to 26, which is absurd. So, keep an eye on China stocks. They still have potential, but definitely not my favorite move for the long term, as much as it was, say, maybe 2 months ago. Crypto has been banging recently. We kind of are in a pullback right now. But, providing that I don't think we'll break under this 63,000 area. I think we're just going to have a nice bull run and break that 70,000 and stay above. I think that's definitely possible with crypto. Obviously, anyone's guess. But nevertheless, crypto looking really, really good right now. And I think we're definitely just pulling back to make a new high. Remember, pullbacks are really good for the market. But jumping over to Landon now for some of our big money plays for today.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. Today was actually a crazy day in terms of big money. We had about, hold on, give me a second to count here. One, two, three, four, five, six big money plays. Um, I guess big money was really loving the fact that Microsoft kind of gave its earnings, and we can see how the market kind of is going to move, even though we still have Apple and Amazon. And there was Meta after close today. But moving on to our first one is for ticker symbol IWM. Um, and this one is, I guess, kind of like an add-on from our big money play yesterday. Say investor. It is a put option contract. Strike of 220, expiration of 8/9/2024. Total premium count 1.3 million, and a total volume of 5K. Um, you know, I I'm a big fan of kind of shorting this stock just because, we've made so much money off of it. But today wasn't a great sign. I didn't love how we saw movement today just because, we did have a really pretty big push up today. We ended the day higher than we ended the day yesterday, which isn't a great sign. But we are pretty high in terms of the last month with price. So we could see a pullback here very soon just because we are so overvalued. But moving on to our next one, we have for ticker symbol CEG. And this one is a call option contract, strike of 185, expiration of 8/16/2024. Total premium count 600K, total volume 626. Pretty low volume, but that's because premiums are super high. And the bot actually called this one at 9:46 a.m. And this is actually crazy movement here. Excuse me. It's now that I look at it, not insane movement, um, but yeah, not my favorite play if I'm going to be completely honest. Expiration 8/16, not my favorite as well, just because of how many big companies were reporting earnings. Um, so not loving it. But moving on to our next one, we have for ticker symbol INTC. Now this one I am actually liking. Just to reiterate the play for you guys here. Call option contract, strike of 36, expiration of 12/20/2024. Total premium count of 900K, total volume of 6K. And it chopped out today, but that's not the reason I like this play. The reason I like this play is because I do think the entire tech sector is about to kind of go on a bull run again. The entire tech sector has kind of been down as of late. So I think this is a pretty good buy-in for us just because I do think we are about to go on a bull run. Um, that's why I like this. And with an expiration of 12/20/2024, it does give you pretty good, amount of time to leverage the play just so you don't get screwed. But as a side note, we actually do have earnings reported tomorrow, which is I would wait after the earnings report just to get buy-in. Just because you never know, with earnings, it's always a gamble. It's like playing blackjack or whatever you like to play at the casino. But moving on to our next one, we have for ticker symbol TQQQ. And this one is a call option contract, strike of 80, expiration of 1/17/2025. Total premium count 3 million and a total volume of 4K. Really solid data there. The bot called this at 10:42 a.m. I actually did enter this one. So I was a little scared at first because I did kind of see it go down. But nevertheless, kind of kept my faith with the play just because I really do think QQQ was gonna or TQQQ, excuse me, was gonna rebound today. You know, there's a lot of time on these contracts. If you guys really want to hold it, you can. That's why it's always kind of better to add more time to your contracts just to make them safer. Allows you to be a little more picky when you want to take profit or cut losses. But moving on to our next one, it's ticker symbol SLV. And this one is a call option contract, strike of 27, expiration of 12/31/2024. Total premium count 900K, total volume of 5K. Um, Not my favorite, just because I'm not a big fan on playing silver. I like gold much more in terms of um, you know buying into it. But we did have a really good day today. if the bot did call this out at around like 12:30, so it was kind of near the dip, not so much. By the end of the day, we did have a pretty good move upwards. Profit was secured. If you guys do want to go ahead and just not cut, but take profit, would be a pretty good spot right here, just because we are kind of high on the week. Um, I really do think we might continue to downtrend in terms of silver. This could be a pullback up for a further downtrend, but I don't know. We'll wait to see how that plays out. But for our final one, ticker symbol ASML, and this one is a call option contract strike of 930, expiration 9/20/2024. Total premium count of 8 million, which is a lot of money, guys. And with a volume of 2K, that's really good data, really solid. I actually do really like this play with an expiration of 9/20. That does give you time to leverage the play. And we did see a pretty good pullback up the last few days. So not ideal entry, but still in terms of like looking at it from a month's perspective, pretty good entry overall. I do think we are gonna kind of make a new high. So overall, that'll be really good profit if you guys do enter here. But that's it for big money plays. But moving on from big money plays, one thing I wanted to go over was TMF. We did have excuse me, let me pull it up here. Yeah, so for TMF, we did have an EMA 1350 bullish cross about like 4 days ago. And we just seen straight movement upwards. I really do like this play. I entered the day after we had the cross, and it chopped that day. But this is a really solid play all around, guys. This TMF is definitely in an uptrend. Pretty solid one. If you guys want to enter here, you could. If you guys are in, I would start to scale out. Just because it's always safer to be safer. Wait, how's the say going?
Better
Go,
to
Andrew?
be safe than sorry.
Yeah, that's the one. It's always better to be safe than sorry. But overall, pretty solid play from the bot there. That one I think our day trade bot called out. Our day trade bot has been getting better and better. Another thing to note is our day trade bot actually did call out a EMA 1350 bearish cross for Microsoft. So I might get into Microsoft swing trade puts, duration of like something like 3 weeks, just to kind of see it could continue to downtrend. I don't think Microsoft's going to follow the entire tech sector. Just because, look, today we saw Nvidia, Meta, all these big tech companies kind of shoot up, and Microsoft not really following that, kind of momentum. So I do think Microsoft will kind of continue to downtrend. It will go it'll have a much greater drop in price than the other tech companies, but in the end, it'll blast off. It'll reach new highs much further than from the previous high. But other than that, back to you, Andrew.
Yeah, Landon, some short-term bearishness is all good for Microsoft, but just, long-term, it's going to go up, all right? Short-term plays of bears, nothing wrong with that at all. Always a good play there with Microsoft, super reliable company. Love trading them. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at our earnings report for tomorrow. I already told you guys we got Apple and Amazon, but we're going to go a little bit more in depth on that right now. So our earnings report, right? So we stormed Normandy for the past 2 days. Now we're moving up to the bunkers, right? We got the Germans on the 50 caliber guns up there, and we're pushing, all right? So tomorrow before open, pretty quiet. We do have some economic data coming out. We'll be taking a look at that in just a second. But Toyota, Shell, nothing too crazy. Ferrari coming out as well. Just name a few names there. Don't even worry about it, okay? Nothing here really matters until you scroll down. Yeah, Apple, Amazon, Intel, right? I forgot to add one thing about Intel that I wanted to go over just now. But every time Intel touches this 30 support, okay, break the bank, all right? Break the bank, all right, guys? Every time we grab liquidity from the 30 level, we have an insane move upwards with Intel. We almost never, ever break below it. So that is one of the best risk rewards in, the stock market, in my opinion. Intel hitting 30. That's like, it's just honestly, there's no locks in the market, right? This is kind of one of those that I would say, if you're new to trading, you want to make some quick cash, that 30 support is a wonderful, level to watch if you just want to trade some basic support and resistance. But moving away from Intel, right? We have their earnings tomorrow, so who knows? We could honestly see it break below 30. And if it does that, you guys already know where I'm full porting. That was a joke. Don't full port. Definitely don't leverage over 20% of your account. But, right, we do have Intel. Amazon and Apple, right? I hope they do good. I really do, because I'm a bull, and that's what I want to see. It's not exactly a good sign that we're seeing Apple and Amazon kind of gain a hype train behind them, as that makes it harder for earnings to kind of push them up even higher, right? Whenever you have a hype train behind a stock, it could get overvalued, et cetera, and then the earnings just kind of messes it up, and then we shoot down. But nevertheless, it's something to watch. The market's going to move off of it. Very, very important. SPY and Apple, they haven't really been correlating as heavily as I expected. They are correlating super heavily. Do not get me wrong. All right. But definitely not as heavy as I originally thought they would. And then Amazon just kind of like tagging along for the ride, to be honest. Kind of just following both markets there. Not as big dips or anything, but yeah, just be careful. Markets can get super, super volatile tomorrow, and that's definitely something to watch. Coinbase is also reporting. We do have Riot. I believe that's tomorrow. It might have been. Is it Friday? No, it is tomorrow. Should be. Okay, nevertheless, we have Riot earnings tomorrow. Okay, my eyes are not finding it here, but if we hop over to TradingView and we look at, Riot earnings were actually today. That's why I couldn't find it. Riot reported today. That's why they're down to 10. Could be a nice play for tomorrow. Mara's the one that reports tomorrow. Sorry, got those two confused. But yeah, so crypto sector, the crypto miner sector is reporting tomorrow. But let's go ahead and take a look at our economic calendar for tomorrow, because we do have some pretty important events to cover. Okay, so looking at our economic calendar today, we had crude oil inventories come out. Number was great, better than expected. Love to see it, right? Fed interest rate decision. They didn't cut rates, obviously. We've been over that. Definitely very possible it's going to be in September now, almost guaranteed. Tomorrow, we've got jobless claims, PMI for global U.S. manufacturing, and ISM. All right. These normally don't affect the market. I don't expect them to, unless they come out like crazy, like if the forecast is 49 and the number comes out like, 5, which is almost guaranteed not going to happen. So, it just keep an eye on it. If you are in a trade, just be aware that at 10 and 9:45, you might see some heightened volatility or some fear in the market, but shouldn't be anything too crazy. Moving into Friday, just boring as well. Unemployment rate tends to kind of affect the market, but it's before market open, so nothing really to worry about there. That's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning to the Trading Table. This has been Andrew and Landon. Please be sure to check out our free Discord. Link is in the description, where we have all our plays in real time, and we'll see you guys tomorrow at market close.